Hey, single dads, welcome to the Single Dad Project, where we're building better lives one project at a time. And today's show is a big one. We are cultivating a good relationship with the mother of your child. That's the topic, that's the focus. My name is Henry. Over to my right is PJ. Today we're tackling a big one, building a better relationship with your baby mama. Why it matters. A healthy relationship with your child's mother, whether you're co-parenting smoothly or navigating anger and tension, sets the tone for your kid's well-being and your own peace of mind. Episode 4 is about taking responsibility for your side of the dynamic, finding common ground with her, and building a partnership that works, all through the lens of the 6 single dad projects: spiritual, relational, intellectual, physical, financial, and business. We'll give you practical steps to find peace and teamwork. So let's roll up our sleeves and make it work for our kids. So today I wore this shirt, which got the fist on it, because this is a touchy subject. And I wore this shirt as a way to symbolize, like, we don't want to do this. As much as sometimes we want to, like, punch walls and get angry and all that kind of shit, when it comes to our baby mama, you want to approach this subject with calmness and clarity. So for the spiritual project, we're looking to find forgiveness and inner peace. A positive relationship with the mother of your child starts with letting go of resentment or past hurts. This project focuses on cultivating a spiritual mindset, whether through faith, mindfulness, or personal values, that allows you to approach her with clarity and compassion. So the exercise for this project is, again, it goes back to the inner sphere. Going back to the spheres, we started all of this with the inner sphere. Who are you as a single dad? What's going on inside your body and everything? Like, what are you about? Last week, we talked about the sphere outside of that, which is your kids. The whole topic was around your kids. This one, we have to tackle the subject of dealing with the mother of your child. So it's the outer sphere. And on this one, what I'm basically looking to help you do is just be calm, find clarity, find peace. And so with this exercise, it's the forgiveness letter. If you've been around the personal development world, this concept is not new. It's been around for a while. Basically, you're writing a letter to the mother of your child and forgiving her. You don't have to send it. She doesn't have to read it. But the point of the exercise is for you to release anger, resentment, whatever you have towards her, if you have any of those feelings towards her. And usually this comes up in one form or another, because at one point you two were together in a relationship, had your kid or kids, and now that relationship is no longer there. As in my case, the divorce happened because of me. So there was no resentment towards my ex. The forgiveness that I had to find was within myself. However, all that being said, and I'm sure some of you watching this will understand this experience or have gone through this experience, in the context of trying to co-parent, arguments come up, bad blood comes up. And so even though I was the one that was the reason for the divorce, and she needed to forgive me in that way, when it came time to dealing with, like, trying to figure out this, divorce, how we're gonna build this relationship, raising our daughter separately, a lot of arguments came up. And so a lot of times I had a lot of resentment for the mother of my child. And so this exercise is gonna, if you've experienced that, this exercise will help with that. So basically what you're doing is you're setting aside a little bit of time, 5-10 minutes, in a quiet space We went through this in the second episode where everything was about you and just settling in and being at peace with you. So you want to get to that space where you're at peace with yourself. And basically, you're going to write a letter to the mother of your child. And you don't need to send it again. It's probably good that you don't. This is private. This is for you. And in the letter, you're expressing any unresolved feelings, anger, regret, or even gratitude that you have for this person. Be honest. No, like I said, nobody has to read this letter. And then at the end of the letter, you get to forgive her. And also, if you choose to, and again, this is one of the harder things that I had to deal with in my situation, was trying to forgive myself. So you can work on that process in the letter. And afterward, you can put the letter away, save it for posterity or something, or destroy it, burn it as a symbolic release. It's one of those things, like I said, in those personal development communities, even like the yogi kind of communities, writing something down and burning it is a way to release the energy. So try it. Let us know if it helps you in the comments. Okay, our next project is the Relational project. And in this, the focus is on taking in her point of view, the mother of your child's point of view. Empathy is a game changer in co-parenting. This project focuses on intellectually engaging with your baby mama's point of view as a way to relate better to her in this point in time in the relationship that you find yourself separate. So what you want to do is basically put yourself in a place where you are seeing her point of view, her challenges, her priorities, her stressors, to find common ground and reduce misunderstandings. So this exercise I'm calling the perspective shift. And again, it's kind of like this inner game that you're playing where you're trying to figure out, okay, you're trying to reduce what little angers or stress that you get from the experience that you have with her, post marriage and divorce and all that kind of stuff. If you went through that, even if you didn't, if you're co-parenting, like you guys aren't together, this is something that's helpful too. So what you want to do is, again, spend some time alone, 5-10 minutes, and you're basically imagining in your head what she's going through. You could write down 3 things: 1 challenge she might face as a co-parent, 1 goal she has for your kids, and 1 reason she might act the way she does. So if I'm thinking about this as I think about my own situation, like one of the challenges that she might face as a co-parent was, at the time when I was going through my divorce, I wasn't working, didn't have shit. So, for her, I could say, okay, here's the challenge. He's not going to have the money to help me out. And that's going to force me to like really buckle down, probably get a second job. I don't want a second job because I don't want to do that to my daughter. So I'm trying to put myself in her shoes and what that would do to her. So what's 1 challenge she might face as a co-parent? 1 goal she has for your kids. I know for my baby mama, I don't like calling her that, but just trying to make light of the situation. One of the things that she wanted for our daughter was for her to be happy. So no fighting in front of her. Like, she wasn't going to badmouth me. She suggested I don't badmouth her. I never did to my daughter anyway. But the goal was to, here we are separate. My daughter was 2 years old when we went through the divorce. So for her, it was like, how do we do this in a way where our daughter can still be happy? I know that was one of her goals. And another thing is, when you're doing this exercise, what's 1 reason that the mother of your child may be acting in a certain way? Why is she getting angry with you? Why is she denying you maybe access to your child? I've experienced that, and I've talked to other single dads that have experienced that, where the mom's like, nope, you don't get to see our kid right now for whatever reason. So it's real easy to get angry about that. But one of the things that's difficult with this exercise, and I think is also beneficial, is trying to put yourself in her shoes and why she would be doing things like that. So take the time to acknowledge her perspective. And again, you can do this internally, or if you want to have this conversation, you could say things to her like, hey, I know you're juggling a bunch of things right now and the schedule is tough. Scheduling moments with our daughter, our son is difficult. Let's figure this thing out together. So you want to approach this from her perspective. I look at it as trying to internalize this dialogue. But if you have a good relationship with the mother of your child and you want to take this perspective shift and use it as a way to have conversations with her, like say, hey, I know you're dealing with a lot right now. Work is really tough. Both of us are struggling financially. So like, how can we work this out? How can we come together and find a solution to the problems that we're having? So that's the exercise. The reason why this works, I think, is the exercise builds empathy, helping you see her as a partner in parenting rather than an opponent. And a lot of times when it comes to like, trying to be parents for a child or children, and you guys are on opposite ends of the aisle, it can be really tough, and it's hard to see that person as a partner, and it's real easy to see that person as an opponent. So this is the benefit of this exercise. It encourages proactive steps to bridge gaps in understanding. So if you try this exercise, let us know how it goes in the comments. I drive forklifts working overnights in a warehouse, and the forklift I was driving recently went down for repairs. It wasn't a hydraulic issue, but if it was, my friends over at chosenonehose.com would have had that forklift up and running by now. Do you need custom hydraulic hoses and fittings that deliver? Call my friend John at 847-893-0084. For over 40 years, Chosen One has been the go-to partner for businesses in Chicagoland. Their expert team crafts top-notch solutions tailored to your needs, fast and built to last. Power your operation with the best. Visit chosenonehose.com today. I know if the forklift I was driving had a hydraulic hose issue, my friend John at Chosen One Hose would have taken care of it by now. That's chosenonehose.com, 847-893-0084. Don't forget to ask for spares. John wanted me to let you guys know that. We'll have their info on the screen and in the description below. One more time, chosenonehose.com, 847-893-0084. Ask for John. Our next project is the intellectual project. And this one, I'm calling it Be the Better Man. And let me explain what that means. Single moms are not in their feminine energy, and they can't be because they are now trying to be both energies. They're trying to be the mother, and on certain levels they're trying to be the father, because in most situations the mom has custody of the kid, or they have the kid around them most of the time. Even if you're in a 50-50 relationship where you got custody of the kid half the time, she's got custody of the kid half the time, that half of the time that she's got her kid, she's still trying to be mom and dad. So one of the things that I'm going to suggest, and it's a book, and I don't have it with me, I have it in my little library at home, but one of the things that I'm going to suggest is that you read this book to get an understanding of male and feminine energy. And the book is called The Way of the Superior Man. In a functional relationship with the mother of your child, everything hinges on clear, respectful communication. And I believe understanding her energy, which is what this book talks about, male energy, feminine energy, that's kind of the basis of if you get that understanding, you're going to understand where she comes from as far as like why she blows up at you at like unexpected whatever, why certain things. The basic gist of the book on energies is the author, David, describes feminine energy as dynamic energy. It's colorful, it's movement, whereas male energy is like a rock. It's basically, it's stoic. It's focused, pretty much black and white. So if you understand the dynamics of feminine energy and dynamic energy, you get to understand where she's coming from when she kind of like loses her shit. It's from that feminine energy of emotion and being dynamic and moving, like all the emotions are moving on the inside, which is something that us guys really don't experience too much. So that's why I'm calling the intellectual project be the better man. It's your job as the dad, as the male figure in this relationship, to stand your ground and not let the emotions get the best of you, not let her emotions get the best of you. So if you get that understanding with the energies, it's going to help you with the interactions that you have with her. Some of the things that we talked about in last week's show is having that practice of active listening. For you as a single dad, speaking with intention. Sometimes when you get into these little arguments with the mother of your child, you tend to lose focus, and you get into the emotional tornado that she's building. And what they talk about in Way of the Superior Man is to let that tornado happen. It doesn't affect you. So one of the things you want to do is come at it with active listening, but also speak from a sense of your higher self, speak with intention. And this reduces the conflict, and hopefully between the two of you builds better trust. So the exercise is respectful communication. The next time you guys need to discuss something, whether it's schedules, school, finances, that's the most tricky one, I think, for everybody, is to pause for a second and get into your masculine energy. Just understand what that energy is about. And then you can approach her with how she's coming at you with her energy. And this gives you guys and it's kind of like that yin and yang symbol. It gives you guys a chance to work together, understand. I mean, she may not even go through this as far as like, if you suggest, hey, you should read this book, she might be like, fuck you. And you don't have to do that. Just you, as long as you understand how everything's happening, you can approach it better. And so the approach is, how do I have good communication with this person? I'm trying to, work out ways where I can see my kid, do cool things with my kid, and she's saying no. Instead of losing your shit, approach it from a balance of masculine energy, understanding what the feminine energy is trying to do. So in this practice, in this exercise, it's a lot of pausing, because the male energy, like I said, is not dynamic. It's the way it's described in the book. It's not dynamic. It's focused. You stay in control. You try to keep the communication between both of you productive, showing her that you're committed to a respectful outcome. It's a small habit in this exercise that you're trying to build. If you've never done this with your ex, I think it's one of those habits that's really beneficial in the long run, because, depending on where you are with your situation, you got 18 years with this woman that you may never, you may not want to be in a relationship with her ever again. But you got to deal with her because she's the mother of your children, at least 18 years, 16 years, 20 years sometimes. So you want to build that habit of having respectful communication with her, and that's what this exercise is about. So try it. Let us know how it goes in the comments. Okay, next we're at the physical project. And this one I'm calling post-relationship Feng Shui, because there's a lot of things going on in here. So physical well-being, the physical project, physical well-being impacts how you show up in tense situations. So this project is about using space to manage your stress, so you can approach the mother of your child with patience and good energy instead of frustration. And believe me, like, I've had many situations that have been like, I'm like, why? Very frustrating. So there's two parts to this. There's the feng shui part, and then there's the breathing part. One of the things that how I see it with physical isn't just your body, isn't like in other videos we talk about like working out and doing activities. In this particular project, I'm breaking it down into two things. One is your body, but one is like your space, how you use your space. The exercise is called Set Your Boundaries and Breathe. And by set your boundaries, what I mean by that is, how do you guys communicate right now? Is the communication good? Is the communication not so good? For me and my ex, anytime we talked face to face, it was not good. And so we came up with an agreement that if she had to communicate with me about our daughter, it was going to be through text. Because at least it's just words. There's no emotion attached to it. And that was us setting our boundaries, basically. And it gave me space where I'm like, I didn't have to okay, this is long before I read the book, Way of the Superior Man, so I didn't understand the dynamic energies that I talked about in the last project. But it gave us a way to have space so we didn't have to deal with the emotional that was happening. Even though sometimes you can go through that kind of argument crap through text, again, at least there's a little bit of space. You're not in each other's face or whatever. And for us, it was a way to just, communicate where it was literally black and white. Like, hey, you're supposed to pick her up at this time. I'm saying hey, I reminded you that it was the time changed, and you can have that exchange in text. And so that's one of the ways that I look at this exercise, is setting your boundaries. Another thing, and this isn't my personal experience, this is experience from a friend, woman friend, not a guy friend. This friend of mine, when her ex-husband would show up to pick up their daughter for his weekends or whatever, his time with his daughter, she would tell me every time he came over, he was trying to flirt with her and oh, you look so good, and we should go out for drinks. And she's like, we're divorced now. And if you wanted this, you had it and you fucked up, basically. So when I heard that, I was like, as a man, as a father, and this is just a philosophical tangent, why the fuck would you want to mess with your kid's mom like that? Personally, just me personally speaking, it shows immaturity that you're trying to hit on the woman that you had a child with, and now you guys are not together and you're still trying to get in her pants. It's bro, grow up. So that's one of the things too. If that's you, set your boundaries. Don't be that guy. Like what Tony Robbins says, raise your standards, be a better man. And that goes to how this exchange happens. When I used to pick up my daughter for my weekends, I was outside of the house because I didn't want to go inside. I let my ex know, hey, through text, I'm here. She was always got my daughter ready, sent me a text hey, we're coming out. If the weather was nice, whatever, or not, I'd meet him at the door. I got my daughter now, we're in the car, we're out. So those are the boundaries that we set. I wasn't coming inside the house. I'm not sitting in the car. I'm going to come pick up my daughter at the door. But everything had to be set, and we had that little schedule set out, or I don't even know if schedule's the right word, but everything was laid out, right? So that's what I mean by set your boundaries. The second part of this physical project is you're going to find yourself, or you probably have already experienced this, you're going to find yourself in many stressful situations with your ex, right? One of the things to take care of yourself in the physical space, your actual body, is to do a 5-minute little exercise called box breathing. So the way this works is, and I'm sure if you go online, you'll find videos on how to do this and whatnot. I'm just giving you a suggestion. This is a deep breathing exercise that involves inhaling for 4 seconds. So you inhale 4 seconds, count it out as you're breathing in, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you hold for 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4 seconds. So as you're exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then on the exhale, you're holding that breath again for another 4 seconds, and you repeat. You're doing this exercise to regulate your nervous system. Again, it's really easy with co-parents for tensions to get out of hand. So it's a way to relax that nervous system, regulate it, reduce stress, and hopefully go into the interaction that you're having with your ex in a calm way. Let us know if you try this little breathing exercise, or if you set boundaries, or if you have ideas on how to set boundaries. Let us know in the comments. Our next project is the financial project. And with this, you want a plan and transparency. I know when I say transparency, some of you are probably like, I don't want to let her know like how much I'm making, this and this and that. She's going to take the money and whatever. I think each situation is how you approach it is going to be where you're like, how you end up, like what's the outcome. I'm just giving you little ideas on how I approached it, what other single dads have, like when I talk to other single dads, like how they've gone through things. So for here, our financial project, especially concerning your ex, money can be a flashpoint in co-parenting. But working together on kid-related finances can build trust. This project focuses on creating transparency and teamwork around shared financial responsibilities with your child. So the exercise here is called the budget check-in. Very, very simple. So the purpose is to focus the conversation with the mother of your child on one kid-related expense. Just like keep it simple. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you guys can talk about and a lot of things that you need to deal with, but just focus on one kid. And again, the way I'm setting up these projects is like you take one project, work on it for a week, see how it goes, work on another project, or that same, if it's the financial project, do it again the following week. And you're just building little habits, building momentum. So here, the kid-related expense could be school supplies, their extracurricular activities, medical costs. Pick one. And that's the one that you're going to have a discussion over and work on this little budget with. Before the talk, this is something that you got to do on your own time. Write down a simple budget or cost breakdown for that item. So for example, if your kid's getting ready to go to school and we all go through the whole buying supplies and all that stuff, most schools are going to give you a list of supplies that they want you to have for your child coming into the school year. So if you and the mother of your child have that list separately, again, I'm just dealing with the single dads here. This is what the show's about. As a single dad, you go through that list and you can go online and go, okay, pencils are going to cost this, markers are going to cost this. So you basically want to come up with a little budget for what that item is about, right? And however your situation works out, whether you're paying for everything, she's paying for everything, or you guys are splitting the costs, then that's what gets written down in that budget. So let's say, for example, you guys are doing 50-50. You can say like whatever the amount is, right? So if it's $100 for all the school supplies and you want to divide it down the middle 50-50, you want to break down on the budget. Here's the items that I'm going to buy that come up to the $50 cost. Here's the items that she could buy that are the $50 cost. And then when it's time to sit down and talk to your ex, you can basically show her the budget and be like, I thought it over. We agreed that we're going to do this 50-50 thing. Here are the items that I'll go buy. And our kid will have that ready for school. And, she might say, all right, cool. And she might say, no, I don't want you to buy the pencils. You buy the shitty color pencils. I'll go buy the pencil, whatever. And then you can just kind of work it out. But you want to have that on paper. You want to be prepared. And again, go through the other projects. So you approach this in a calm, masculine manner, in the sense that you're like, all right, this is where she's going to go emotionally or dynamically with her energy. Cool. You want the cool pencils for your kid and you want to buy them, that's fine. I'll take it off my list and I'll add something from your list onto mine. So you're doing this in a productive kind of way. You're going through this budget. And again, if you just build a habit of trying to go through one item, then as the years go on or as the weeks go on in this the way we're doing it in the community. As the weeks go on, you can build on top of that single item budget. So you go from school supplies, again here in my notes, you go from school supplies to their sports activities, the medical costs, and you guys figure it out, right? Here's the part where the transparency comes in. You're not necessarily telling her, hey, this is all the money I got in the bank, giving her all the juicy details about your finances because she could use that against you kind of thing. And I have never been in that situation, but I know guys that have. So the transparency part is saying, I took a look at what this costs, I put it down on paper, and I'm just showing you what I'm willing to buy. If you want to negotiate this, we can talk about it, and we can find ways to split it 50-50, but here's what I've done to go through this. Versus you guys just having a conversation, oh, school supplies are coming up, you're supposed to buy pencils, and then you guys do this back and forth. No, fuck that. Like, put it on paper, and that's the transparency part. It's like, hey, we agreed to this. I said I was going to buy this. You said you were going to buy that. That's the transparency part. So in this exercise, the budget check-in is like the financial part is I think the most tricky part with couples, especially couples that aren't together anymore. But you want to build a plan, and you want that transparency, and that transparency is just basically having everything on paper. And the other piece of it is, I just thought about this right now, is when you are buying stuff, hold on and keep to your damn receipts. Because, she can come back later and say, oh, you said you were going to buy this, and you bought whatever. I got the receipts right here. Keep your receipts. Don't throw that shit away. Keep it around. Especially if you have a shitty relationship with your ex. If the relationship's good, you can probably ease off of that. But again, every situation is different. So if you have any cool ideas or you've got some experiences with this, let us know in the comments. Love to hear from you. And finally, we're at the business project. Basically, if you look at it as a business in today's times, I know I talked about the stewardship stuff in the past, but for the purpose of this discussion, if you think of a business partnership, like an LLP, limited liability partnership, you kind of almost want to, my suggestion is you kind of almost want to bring that idea or that concept into your co-parenting space. And you'll understand why as I go through this a little bit more. In my humble opinion, co-parenting is like running a business. You both have roles, goals, and a shared product, your kids' well-being. This project is about applying a professional mindset to your relationship with the mother of your child, setting clear expectations and boundaries. For those of you that have businesses that are more business mindset, have more of a business mindset, you'll understand where I'm going with this perfectly. For those single dads out there that have never run a business before, have never had like any kind of desire or thoughts or communication, never read any books, any videos on business, this might fly over your head a little bit, but I want you to try and get the concept right. So the exercise is what I'm calling a co-parenting contract. In business, everything is done by contracts. One of the suggestions I make here is that you don't need lawyers. As long as you do the other projects that I talked about today, you should be able to build a good relationship with your ex in the sense that you guys can communicate respectively, share ideas on how you want to raise your kids. And so when it comes to this piece of it, you don't want to rely on, well, she said this, I said that, this and that, blah, 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 because all that crap gets lost in translation. Remember I said in the physical project, you want to keep your receipts. And so if you are willing to explore this project with me here, what I'm suggesting is you approach your relationship that you have with your baby mama as a business partnership. So the co-parenting contract basically means everything gets put on paper. If you've gone through a divorce, you have everything on paper, especially if you've gone through the courts and you've gone through lawyers. My ex and I wanted to avoid that. So we went to court for the divorce, but there were never any lawyers involved. No lawyers were ever involved when we were talking about money, when we were talking about custody, all that kind of stuff. Me and her worked it out. Her and I both never wanted any lawyer involved. And I understand why you would want to have somebody from the legal profession help you out, especially if your situation is tense and complicated. But if you can avoid those people, you'll probably most likely save a lot of money and a lot of headaches. So here's kind of what you want to do with this exercise, this project idea. Draft a simple contract for yourself. It starts with you first. This is the channel, single dads, right? Single moms can do a different thing. That's fine. We're focusing on you, the single dad. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a legal document. It just like with the budget, it's just, hey, these are the things that I would agree to if I was going to sit down and talk to her. If we're saying, okay, I'm going to get my kid every other weekend. For me, it works out best if I have kind of like a paycheck, right? So you get paid on the 1st and the 15th. I get my kid on the first weekend of the week or of the month, the first weekend of the month and the third weekend of the month, something like that. Like you want to basically write out your contract, and you want to start simple, basically outlining like 3 simple commitments. If you want, so one of the things too is as I was thinking about this outline and coming up with ideas, I realized I'm like, not a lot of people have this business mindset. They won't see it like a partnership in the business partnership sense. So if you want ideas on this subject, I came up with a guide to to a co-parent business partnership that we call, PJ and I here call the co-parenting partnership, a business-minded guide for single moms and dads. So it's for both of you, right? And in that document, we have things that you would see like in a LLP or limited liability partnership. It's like it outlines what are your roles, who's managing what, who's in control of what, where's the money going, who's controlling where the money goes, like is there what's the partnership bank account, what are the outcomes, what are the exit strategies. So a lot of that stuff, like I said, if you go through court, you go through lawyers, they've got all that documented out for you in a way, but they're handling it. And what I'm suggesting here is that you handle it first so you have an idea of what you want to agree to, and hopefully through transparency, like I talked about in one of the other projects, you have that transparency with the mother of your child, and you can say, okay, I came up with this partnership that me and you can discuss. I want you to look through it. Tell me what you would agree to or what you disagree with. Is there anything in there that you want to change? Like, let's discuss it and try to come up with a document for both of you so that as time goes on, you don't have all of these arguments with raising your kid. It's already hard enough on the child that their parents are separate, and now you got, hopefully not, but now you got parents that are at each other's throats, fighting it out, using the child as a battle pawn, which is not cool. So these suggestions that I'm giving to you are just ideas. It's just a way to say, okay, I want to see my kid more often. Let me put it on paper. This is how we can build this as a partnership. Like, hey, you got your ideas, I got my ideas. These are the way you want to do things. These are the ways I want to do things, and try to find a way to merge that. In my experience with my ex, fortunately, we didn't have that kind of tension. We had our arguments. There was, shit that I didn't agree with, a lot of shit that she didn't agree with. But like I said, we never involved lawyers because we were civil enough with each other that we're like, okay, what's the main goal here? And the main goal for both my ex and I was that our daughter was going to be happy, that she was going to be okay, that she wasn't going to see her mom and dad fighting over bullshit. So a lot of the times when we did argue, none of that stuff, my kid never saw it. And like I said, her mom never talked shit to her about me. I didn't talk shit to her about her mom. None of that we never allowed that to be in my daughter's space at all. So I understand that there's parents out there that are not like that. So these are suggestions, these are ideas. If you want the guide and just kind of look through it, again, I'm calling it the co-parenting partnership, a business-minded guide for single moms and dads. Let us know in the comments. We'll do our best to get that out to you. If you do this exercise and you work on this project of co-parenting with a business mindset, let us know how it goes. Let us know what ideas you have. All in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So this is the recap on today's show. Those are the week's projects. Again, practice the projects. Pick and choose whichever one you want to work on. If it's one, if it's all six, it doesn't matter. The purpose for this practice is civility with the mother of your child. Again, have friends that like single dads that were at war, like legit at war with their past significant other, the mother of their child, and it's just not good. So you want to cultivate civility. And so the recap here for the week, my little suggestions is Sunday is a spiritual project day, and for that the exercise is the forgiveness letter. So you're basically writing a letter to the mother of your child, forgiving her for whatever comes to mind. You may not even have to forgive her for anything. Maybe the letter is to write to say thank you, and she doesn't have to see it. It's a personal thing. It's a spiritual thing. Burn it when you're done. Release the energy. That's the idea behind it. Monday is the relational project. And in this one, we're doing a perspective shift. And the perspective shift is putting yourself in her shoes. What is she dealing with? I mean, you know what she's dealing with, but you want to get beyond the surface level and get into her shoes and understand her from her perspective. So the perspective shift is that. Tuesday is the intellectual project, and that is respectful communication, just coming up with ways where you can talk to her and be calm about it. She's going to have her emotions. That's the feminine energy. That's fine. You as the masculine energy, this is another little tiny aside. The masculine energy, according to the way that it's described in the way of the superior man, is the masculine energy calms the feminine energy down. So even if she's getting emotional and like all riled up, you don't enter that tornado. You're the man. You let your energy calm her down. So with that, hopefully you have respectful communication with her. Wednesday is the physical project. And in this, remember, I split it into two. One, you want to set your boundaries. That's your Feng Shui. How you guys communicate. Is it better to communicate face-to-face? Is text better? Is doing a voice, like a FaceTime call? Find those things in your physical space that helps you have better interaction and communication with the mother of your child. The second part is your actual body. When tensions do come up, try the box breathing just to like settle everything down and calm everything down. Thursday is the financial project, and that's having that budget check-in. So whatever you guys are working on that costs money, school supplies, write it down on paper and be like, hey, this is the budget I came up with. If you guys are already doing the respectful communication, you should be able to hand that to her and work things out financially. Last project is on Friday business project, and that's to work on a co-parenting contract. One of the things I forgot to mention while we were shooting that segment was the co-parenting contract is going to evolve over time as your child ages, right? So at 5 years old, the contract might be simple, might not be super complicated. When they're 15 years old, now the contract might have in there like, do we agree that they start dating now or not dating? What are we doing as far as like school activities, sports activities? Are you driving? Am I driving? Are we showing up together? Can the girlfriend come along? Can the new boyfriend, like, figure all that stuff out, and it's going to evolve, right? So that's Friday, the business contract. And then Saturday, you rest. Take time to rest. And that's episode 4, Single Dads. A lot of heavy stuff to talk about. But I think if we go through the discussion and you go through the activities everything will lighten up between you and the mother of your child. You'll have a better relationship with her where you can take care of all the negative stuff, squash it, build on having a positive, productive relationship with her, and in turn will have lots of benefits for your kid or kids. So you've got the playbook to level up your co-parenting game with your baby mama. Choose an exercise like the perspective shift or the budget check-in and give it a shot this week. Share your wins in the comments. Subscribe for new episodes. Again, we're publishing the episodes every Wednesday. Let's build better lives for our kids. And until then, stay inspired, stay accountable, and live with purpose. We'll see you guys later.